Welcome back, boxing fans, to another great show with Sean on boxing. Last night, I went to the bar to watch Liverpool perform like garbage. That was disappointing. And I ran into an American guy from Mississippi, right? And it just shows you that when it all comes down to it, people are all just good people, right? 99% of people just want to work, take care of their families, and have a good life, right? Make good money, house, car, be able to eat what they want, be able to travel, and obviously give their families a better life than they have. That's all. That's what it comes down to when we just talk about people in general. But unfortunately, as he said, it's that 5% of people, those squeaky wheels, that get all the attention. And then, of course, people act as if or assume that this is the majority of people. And of course, it's not the majority. When we talk about these race baiters on YouTube, that's not everybody. It's a select group of people who are the loudest wheel squeaking every day. And unfortunately for them and for us, uh, they're just racist and full of shit. Hollow Ninja was up, Lily, da 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 da, laying in the sun, chilling like a villain. So I was watching a video today, and it's the same bullshit we hear all the time that Americans should support American boxers. Because, of course, Bud Crawford just had a parade in Omaha and the city came out, people were there, it was lit. And that's what you expect hometown people to do, support their hometown hero. No different than when Keyshawn Davis was fighting, at home as well, following in the footsteps of Pernell Whitaker, right? This is what happens. The problem is the twist, the fact that people always want to use race to push this divisional type of situation. Currently, there are 18 American world champions in boxing. 18, right? When you think about that globally, it's not a bad percentage. It's pretty good. But then some people only want to highlight one group, primarily to push this American racist culture that the media has really sort of built. And we know why they're doing it, because they're trying to divide America. Divide America through media and politics so that people just can't come together, right, to make a better country. And unfortunately, you can tell people this and you can give them examples, but people just don't get it. They just don't get it. I was talking to my Canadian friend last night, and his perspective on what's going on in America and Canada far different than mine. Also, a very positive guy, like the kid from the not kid, 40-year-old guy I met from Mississippi, right? Both those guys, black Canadian, black Americans, both very positive, optimistic, seeing the good in people, right? And that's something that all of us should try to do. Keep the good in people. But unfortunately, when you're on social media, when you're scrolling on YouTube, right, the constant noise and constant bullshit just like overruns your brain. But let's get to this and let's check it out. So currently there are 28 American, 28? I think I meant 18, but sorry for my typo. American world champions. Do you support all of them or only certain ones? Right? Somebody used the analogy talking about America compared to England and talking about how English people all support English fighters. Well, that ain't true. But if you do use that as an analogy, you got to understand that they support all their fighters, brown, black, and white, right? Even though there's tribalistic mentality in England, just like there is in Canada. England's obviously much smaller, doesn't have so many huge sports for people to support, like baseball, NFL football, college football, the NBA, right? In America, you are so lucky that you have so many sports to distract you. So boxing becomes a minor sport, one that people don't really worry about that much. Whereas, of course, in England, outside of boxing and football, the rest of the sports are kind of low level. Cricket, rugby, right? If you like them, you like them. But they're obviously not to the same extent as a lot of the American sports. Bobby77 says bashing American stream, i.e., I'm not bashing. I'm putting out a counter argument. See, this is the problem with some of these people. They're so fucking negative and always looking for division. Bobby just can't listen. He needs to make a stupid comment off the top of his head because that's what he does. Hollow Ninja, thank you very much. You're a fucking king among men. 3 pound for pound fighters on the night of the Samurai card, Inui, Nakatani, and Taraji. These cats are focusing more on Tank and Paul. What the fuck is wrong with these guys? But this is why, as Tank Davis said, American boxing is dying. Not because of boxing fans, but because, well, I mean, because of fans and because of the fights that people are supporting and the fights that are being pushed. People want to support Jake Paul Tank Davis. I'm not going to support that. I'm not going to talk about it because that's not boxing. All it is exploiting boxing fans. This Riyadh season card using Japanese fighters and fighters from around the world, a lot of them Mexican, is fantastic. It's just another great innovative new idea from Turki Al Sheikh, right? Matching up different people against different people to try to grab people's attention. And if you're a boxing fan, what's not to like? I mean, we know that this is a precursor, of course, for Inui versus Junto Nakatani, 2 pound for pound fighters meeting up early 2026. That's exactly what boxing fans should be excited about. But let's move forward. That's true, which is why Moses can be the face of boxing with that UK backing. Well, why Moses can be the face of boxing in the UK, but will he translate to the American audience? Anthony Joshua wasn't able to translate to the American audience. Tyson Fury wasn't able to translate to the American audience. So how is Moses going to do it? Moses is also not as outgoing as either one of those two champions, right? He's a much more quiet fellow. Here's Bobby hating. After Picasso, we need that Inui Junto fight. Only so many Cardenas and Picassos that I can take. But yet you're comfortable with American fighters consistently fighting only Cardenas and Picassos, right? This is part of the blatant double standard a lot of boxing fans consistently push out. I haven't heard you complain about Virgil Ortiz taking on Lubin, which is kind of the same level as Cardenas and Picasso, or Boots taking on a guy I can't even remember his name. Inui Junto is next. It is next. Everybody knows that. But people won't accept it and won't support it. And even when it happens, they will find ways to disrespect it and downplay it. Big Baby Anderson could have been huge. Maybe. The problem is with him, it's he's just not hungry to be great. He just wants to cash out as quick as possible. Shakur about to do what Tank should have done, which is fighting Tio. Well, Shakur, Devin Haney, unlike Tank Davis, have shown you why they deserve more respect in boxing than Tank Davis does. Because they have chased after greatness, whereas Tank Davis was happy to be protected and basically try to build a fan base off of fighting guys like Cardenas and Picasso. But Bobby77 was okay with that. But let's scroll through and check out the rest of the video. So, obviously, people have preferences, some based off of style, tribe, promotional companies, and other criteria. What about you as an individual? We know when we talk about the American market, right? You always hear people say the Black American style, which is stupid. It's like saying the Mexican style. Within the Black American style, there's many styles. Not everybody is a typical Black American fighter. Floyd Mayweather, for example, wasn't a typical Black American fighter. He was a counterpuncher, right? Which is very different than the majority of slick Black fighters who are jab first movers. As far as tribal, I mean, this is going to happen everywhere. So the fact that people get upset when people support fighters based on tribal sort of connections, the irony is that's exactly what these people do that are complaining. Blatantly only support fighters that fit into their tribe. So how can you expect that Asians, Mexicans, English, Eastern Europeans, Muslims aren't going to do the exact fucking same thing? Of course they're going to do the same thing because people are people when it comes down to it. You want to gravitate towards people you can relate to. Holland Ninja says, Shakur about to do yet. What we will be getting Taraji versus Bam. I'm not sure if we'll get Taraji versus Bam or if Taraji will go after a potential different fighter, maybe a Roman Gonzalez, which is a fight I thought would be really good. I don't know if Bam and Taraji at this point really is the opponent that Bam should be fighting. He should be moving up to 118, taking on bigger and better challenges, really. Bam Taraji is great for a Nui Junto co-main if Taraji wins this winter. Please, no black American slander. Salute Sean, no race baiting for views. Listen to Damon. But yet Damon supports channels that blatantly doing what I just pointed out. This is not black American slander. You, as well as I know, there are certain black YouTubers that consistently use race and tribalism in every single fucking video. They want to talk about how Americans should support Americans, but what they're saying is FBA Americans. Yet they don't ask FBA boxing fans to support Asian or Latin American champions, right? And that's the blatant double standard, the contradiction. That when a John Boxing says that people should be supporting all these FBA fighters, he doesn't support any non-FBA fighters that are American. And if he says he's now supporting David Benavidez, we know that shit ain't true because he was one of the biggest haters on Benavidez for years as a Caleb Plant fan because Caleb, of course, was part of the PBC. Federal Reserve stealing our money and causing corruption every day. John Boxing still don't get it, man. Well, that's the thing. I mean, Trump pointed out what the UN is doing globally as far as flooding countries with Muslims, right? And paying for them to flood the country and doing this on purpose. Yet people will be ignorant of the reality and how this impacts the country and how what they're doing is trying to create real turmoil so they can come in with the military and basically do like a police state global. Because Bush Sr. talked about this, New World Order. People are too young, maybe they don't remember that. I do. The whole New World Order that George Bush Sr. was pushing when he was president. All these pieces are gradually being put into position so that this big new global government can eventually take place. And the only way you can do that is when there's so much chaos and craziness in the world, and when you have germs and plagues that are fucking raging across the countries, where you need the government to come in and just fucking take over. Already they're talking about that chip that's going to be putting in people very soon, so that you don't need to carry ID. Your ID is in you. You don't need to worry about losing your ID. You got it. It's there. Don't worry. You can go to the bank. Boop. You got your fucking ID, right? It's the same premise that China's doing now, where if you're a good Chinese person, you get more points. And based on points, you can do more things. But then on the opposite side, if you don't act like a good American or a good Chinese person, then you end up not having the opportunity to do things. Like I'll give you a perfect example of Taiwan. When I moved to Taiwan, I didn't need to have a working visa to open a bank, right? Now, of course, when I switched from my new passport to my new APRC and there was a delay, my bank was frozen until I updated all my paperwork. So now the bank and the government can control your savings in the bank like that in Taiwan, right? And it's going to be happening globally. But people would still rather just continue to push this racist fucking propaganda. Let's say Tank retires after Jake and Bud retire. Who do you think can genuinely carry the torch for America? At this point, I would say that's still up in the air. Obviously, I was going to make a movie talking about who's going to take over boxing as a Latin American after Canelo Alvarez leaves, because right now there's no American that currently is the face of boxing in America. Bud Crawford is obviously a superstar, but he doesn't galvanize the crowd and the public the way Canelo Alvarez does. We'll see what happens in his next fight. Maybe with a victory over Canelo and everything else, finally equals him becoming a bit more of a household name. Yes, Bud did have his parade today. We mentioned that. We support Plant and others. I'm now an Inui fan. He's earned my respect. Now he needs to move up after Nakatani if he wins. Come on, Damon. You're full of shit. I've had you on the channel for years, and you're like John Boxing saying his favorite fighter is Inui, only to then go out and literally shit on Inui in fucking every video. Here in America, instead of focusing on how blah 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 deleted 2 kids, they'd rather focus on how the trans were misgendered. Exactly. I mean, it's like right now the American government's going to be closed, right? Frozen. Why? Because the Democrats want illegal immigrants to continue to be paid for. But because Trump froze all of that, not giving these illegal immigrants the financial support that they need to invade America, obviously many of them are just going to start heading home because it's no longer this great opportunity for them, right? And that's exactly what Trump and them are trying to do. And of course, the Democrats would rather freeze the government, hurting America as a whole, hurting Americans, 350 Americans, to benefit illegal immigrants. Because that's the Democrats. They're not trying to benefit Americans. They're trying to destabilize the country. What would this world come to, man? We can't be serious. Remember, they wanted Inui to move up to 135 from 118 and say people want FBAs to lose. Shake my head. Well, that's the funny thing, right? They want Inui to move up to 135 to fight Tank Davis to prove he's great. But they don't want Tank Davis to move up to 154 to fight Bud Crawford, or even 147. Again, blatant double standard. But we understand this is not Black America. This is a certain segment of Black America that's literally profiteering off of spewing hate and division, the same as the media. Bud beats Janibek, but not easy. Stylistically, those 3 middleweights are tougher fights, I think, than Canelo. Not that they're better fighters, but tougher style matchups. Shakur versus Teo, do you see it being a boring counter-punching fight? I definitely think it's going to be boring. But, I mean, when you have high-level chess like Shakur and Teo, nobody wants to make a mistake. So then they're going to be really defensive, a lot of feints. Nobody's going to want to, really step on the gas. Abdullah is quiet, but maybe he can do it. Yeah, he's young, right? So maybe when he becomes older and more of his personality comes out. But right now he's a young kid, obviously very well brought up by a very good family. So, he's not a guy who all over social media talking bullshit like so many Americans. Haney versus Ramirez made me want to watch Rigo versus Casemiro again. Oh my God. Bud should get Lara out of there. Well, in truth, it'd be great if Lara and fucking Carlos Adames would fight, right? An in-house PBC fight. And then allow Bud Crawford to fight Janibek, and then the winners could fight for undisputed. So then Bud Crawford only needs 2 fights to become a 4-time undisputed champion, right? And obviously both are tough fights, but at least you don't have to do all the fucking heavy lifting. But let's move forward. So here are 9 of the current world champions: Shakur Stevenson, Brian Norman Jr., Richard Hitchens, Gary Antoine Russell, Javante Tank Davis, Lamont Roach Jr., O'Shaquie Foster, Stephen Fulton, and Terrence Crawford. Obviously, we know that Lamont Roach and Stephen Fulton are going to be dropping their titles. So it's going to drop down to 7 world champions from this demographic. But the great thing about this particular group is they're all fighters within around the same area, right? Obviously, we got Fulton fighting O'Shaquie Foster, which is a great matchup. Devin Haney's not here because he's not a current champion, but him and Brian Norman is obviously great. Shakur versus Teo, right? We had Lamont versus Tank. once, it would have been great to have the rematch. And of course, you have Richardson Hitchens and Gary Russell, which is a fight that easily could be made at 140 pounds. Uh, I want Tank to do anything. Jesus Christ, I'm from Bmore. I can't stand that mofo moves, but I'm watching because boxing is in a drought. Boxing's not in a drought, though. We've been getting tons of great fights all year. Jamel should have moved up to 160. Andy Hiroka will beat Gary Antoine Russell. Keyshawn was on a high trajectory, but that was halted fast. I still think Keyshawn can bounce back, but that definitely really hurt the potential face of American boxing. I felt that Keyshawn was right on the precipice of really becoming one of the hottest American fighters in boxing, but that was a real boneheaded move on his point. Now we'll see how he bounces back from that. Lamont Roach just ducked the Gary Russell fight. Rest in peace, Gary Russell Sr. Keyshawn has personality, skills with pop. He does. He's got everything you need to be a superstar boxer. Amateur pedigree, strong community support, very well spoken, and with personality, outgoing, and a great style, a boxer puncher, and a guy that can obviously grow into multiple weight divisions because he's long enough, but obviously he's a thin dude, so he could put on some natural weight, kind of like Bud Crawford, and continue going through these divisions. So my heights were high for him and Boots Ennis to be the next two great Black American boxers. And obviously Shakur Stevenson in the mix as well, but stylistically, he's lacking a little bit of the style to really become big, right? He may be recognized as a great fighter, maybe the best of his era, but the problem with him, he's never really going to be a fan favorite, which is unfortunate. I think Evan Deere is still destroying his room. Sean, without the PBC and Top Rank, we're not getting as much marquee matchups anymore, bro. That's not true. The PBC only gave you fucking old man matchups. They're still giving you that shit. You're going to have Funduro versus Thurman. You're still getting the same bullshit from the PBC. And Top Rank, obviously, they're still around. It's just a matter of them getting their next platforms to start showcasing their fighters. And even Top Rank, very similar to the PBC, they like to keep it in-house as well, right? Evan can't say nothing anymore. Well, I'm sure he can, but you know how people are. Then, of course, we got the next 9 world champions that are American. Orlando Romero, Raymond Muratella, Anthony Olascagu, Angelo Leo, Teofimo Lopez, Jesse Bam Rodriguez, Sebastian Funduro, Mario Barros, and David Benavides. As far as this group, I rate 1, 2, 3 of them. Benavides, Tio, and Jesse. I think Funduro is okay, but I mean, he's not the best or the elite fighter at 154. Mario Barros, like Angelo Leo and Raymond Muratalla, are good fighters, but I think limited. Rolly Romero's just been fortunate because I think he's garbage. And Anthony Olascagu, it'll be interesting to see what he does moving forward. He seems to be getting better and better all the time. The question is, what's his upside? But ask yourself this question. For all those people that support the Black Americans that I just talked about, how many of those people support Latino Americans who are also world champions? 18 American world champions, 9 Black American, 9 Latino. But people will tell you that Black America is controlling boxing. Well, no, they're not. Obviously, they're contributing, and they have lots of great athletes, and potentially we have a lot of young up-and-comers who might be the new generation to literally take over boxing. But this kind of generalization is the problem because you're spewing garbage based on histrionics, not based on the current setup of boxing, not just in America, but globally. Global boxing has never been as big as it is now. We're getting that huge card in Turkey, Saudi Arabia, the Japanese versus the world card. Excellent, right? You're getting the great card with Devin Haney versus Norman, right? Great card as well, right? Saudi Arabia consistently is still giving us great cards, stacked cards. And we just need to wait for America to get back to what they once did. And it's unfortunate, right, that we ended up losing HBO. But it's ironic people fucking laughed and cheered when HBO went, and then Showtime went. Oh, now they're in their feelings because people are going, karma. And then, of course, now ESPN, now people are like, oh, yeah, see, fucking ESPN. So, of course, HBO and ESPN Top Rank were racist. They didn't support black Americans. PBC is the only promotional company that supports black Americans. Whereas if we look here, Romero is PBC, Leo, I don't know what he is. Funduro is PBC. Mario Barros is PBC. David Benavides is PBC. 4 out of the 9 Latino world champions right here are all PBC fighters. Let's look at Black American. Gary Antoine Russell, Gervonta Tank Davis, Stephen Fulton. So 3. 3 of those fighters are PBC. Where are we? Prevent Bud Crawford. Exactly. Just watched the Pro Box card yesterday. It was okay, but damn, it was low key, off brand, but it was entertaining. Yesterday or today, watching Naji Lopez. Naji Lopez looks good. He's a great addition to the light heavyweight division. Ryan Garcia looks like he is back in better health. I want to see that Haney rematch. The money will be vast. Well, ironically enough, I heard John Boxing talking about how if Devin Haney beats Norman, he's going to move up to 154 and try to beat Boots Ennis, which is bullshit because he ain't going to do that. What he's going to do is try to fight Manny Pacquiao at 147 or fight Ryan Garcia at 147. He's going to go for the fights where he can get the bag. 100%. That's what Devin Haney is going to do. He ain't chasing the most dangerous fighters. He's chasing the biggest fucking pots. And that's why he fought Ryan Garcia to begin with. You fought Ryan Garcia, not that you were fighting the best fighter at 140, because Ryan Garcia wasn't even a world champion. You fought him because Tank Davis made huge money when he fought Ryan Garcia. So they wanted to duplicate what Tank Davis did. Unfortunately for them, it did not work out well at all. Latinos ducking and stopping elite blacks from being champs. You see what happened to your face of boxing when a black American gets an opportunity. See, once again, that's complete bullshit. Give me an example. That black American got an opportunity to fight Canelo Alvarez. So what black American fighters aren't be giving opportunities to fight Latino fighters? Isn't Shakur fighting Teo? So a black fighter getting a world title fight versus Lopez. Where are these examples of Latino fighters that aren't fucking getting fights, that aren't giving black Americans fights? I know there's plenty of occasions where black American fighters aren't giving black American fighters opportunities. Tank Davis didn't want to fight any of the great black American fighters in his division. Never, ever. Unless he's pulling them up in weight. LDBC Clown has Oshaki Foster number 2 on the pound for pound list. Brain damage is real. Can you imagine a guy with 3 losses and almost every single fight he's been in, right, has been a war? He's not dominating and destroying the opponents in front of him. He's having wars with all of them. That's why I lean towards Stephen Fulton to beat him. Andy Cruz is ranked number 1 for Muratalla and Shakur. Something needs to happen. This is ridiculous now. Well, Andy Cruz literally walked away from negotiations with Muratalla. So you better ask Andy Cruz why that Cuban Latino fighter doesn't want to take fucking this fight to purse bid. Because if it would have went to purse bid, Andy Cruz would have been getting that fight. Andy is 30. He has to get a move on. He does, but it's the politics of boxing. They don't want to take purse bid because they don't want to fucking get such a low amount of money. They're hoping they can negotiate with Muratalla and the promotional company and generate more money. But who the fuck is Andy Cruz? Who the fuck is Muratalla? Neither of those fighters got any name recognition. How much money you think you're going to generate with that fight? Schofield out here ducking smoke. Schofield ducking smoke like crazy. Like Damon saying that Latino fighters are ducking Black Americans and holding them away from getting world title fights. Yet he can't give any examples, but we can give plenty of examples in the opposite direction. No, it's not official. Wait for Tio to duck. It's not happening with Kerr. See, here you go. So a fight between Shakur and Tio is basically fucking done. But this negativity, right, from a guy like Damon, right? It's these guys like Damon, right, that are problems with the boxing community because everything is racial. It's not the top ranked way to give elite blacks to Latinos. Rest in peace, Cameron Duncan. It's not the top ranked way to give elite blacks to Latinos. More elite fighters that ducked Bud than Bud fought. Facts. Kid Austin Thad said Jojo Diaz is a tougher fight than neither Noakes or Abdullah Mason. Once again, right, here's a Black American fighter who could have been fighting Muratalla for an IBF world title, but he's choosing to fight Jojo Diaz, who's literally been beaten in his last 3 fights. Why? Because they think they can generate more money because Jojo Diaz has more name recognition. Not that he's a better fighter, but at least people know his name more than they know Muratalla. These guys tell on themselves. They're only interested in money. They're not interested in legacy. So when boxing public points this out, it's not hate. It's truth. Pacquiao came out today and said he always wanted to fight Bud. I love Pacquiao. He's my favorite, but man, stop lying. No, to be fair, I'm sure Pacquiao always did want to fight Bud. But his trainer, his promoter, his team, obviously they had different plans, different ideas. I mean, you really think Manny Pacquiao doesn't want to challenge himself against Bud Crawford, especially when Crawford was a 140 pounder and Pacquiao was at 147? Come on. Boxers are boxers. The truth is, I don't think any boxers really are afraid, except for Tank, of fighting other top level opponents. It's just they have a team in place, and that team is there to make the smart business decisions. Boxers are uneducated for the most part, don't fucking know anything about the legal prospects, and are short sighted. Think about fucking Big Baby Anderson. The guy got a big deal to go fight in Saudi Arabia and fucking ruined his career by getting beat, by taking on an opponent Top Rank would never have put him in with. But at 140, he went his own way. At 147, he wanted too much money. Too much money? Come on. You take on a risky opponent, you're going to demand money because that's what all these guys are demanding, money. So what's the difference between these two groups? Aren't they all American? So if you talk about supporting Americans, shouldn't you support all of them? But unfortunately for people pushing this kind of propaganda, right, guys like this, they don't fucking want you to support Latino Americans. They just want everyone to support FBA Americans, even though they don't expect FBA people, fans, to support Latin American fighters. Remember, Shakur Stevenson praised Bam Rodriguez. What did Dante's Boxing Nation say? Dante's Boxing Nation literally shit all over Shakur for simping for a Latino fighter. But Bam is American, Shakur is American. It's an American supporting a fucking American. So don't let these guys try to push this racial division and act like, you know, everyone that doesn't support a Black American fighter is somehow racist, because they don't support fucking non-Black American fighters. So they're basically just hypocrites. That's it. Hypocrites. But then you got me, and here's the guys I support, even though I thought I fixed this on my feed, but I don't know what happened. So you got Inui, you got Ennis, you got Junto. Who else is there? Jesse Bam, Virgil Ortiz, Lester Martinez. Actually, there's other fighters underneath. I don't know why my thing looks all fucked up. I'm pretty sure I fixed it on my feed. Oh, I didn't. It still won't fix it. But you can see here for yourself. Anui, Better BF, Boots, Bud, Junto. What about the other page? Bam, Virgil. Even though I ain't happy with the way Virgil's moving. And then the page, here we go. Bam, Virgil, Ken Taraji, Keyshawn Davis, and Lester Martinez. Uh, you can name a million fighters that deserve more attention than Tank. I don't know about a million. Yeah, Bobby knew what would happen if he fed Manny to the GOAT. Manny wanted 20 million for Bud, gave it to him, and then he asked for 40 million. Well, Bud didn't give him nothing because Bud wasn't the one coming up with the cash, but okay. I saw 5 LDBC videos and they had Andrade and their pound for pound list. What in the world, Sean? Really? Currently, non world champion coming off of a knockout loss in his last performance, they got him on their pound for pound list. That's how desperate people are to put black Americans on the pound for pound list, that they're going to put guys like Demetrius fucking Andrade on the list. At least Bobby has been unified. Virgil scared of belts. He's scared of belts. No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I said I'm disappointed the way Virgil's career is maneuvered since obviously his illness and the fact that the Stanionis fights fell through at 147. At 147, outside of blatantly ducking Bud Crawford, but Boots did that as well. I thought his team was moving him very well through great competition. And he's fought very good competition at 154, right? Bolchak, Madrimov, and now Lubin. All three top 10 fighters at 154. So he's fighting good competition. But why are you so fucking opposed to fighting for a world title? Man, get out of here with that politics list. We run boxing. We run boxing. How do you run boxing? Who who is we that runs boxing? First of all, you don't run the financial aspect of boxing. So if you don't run the financial aspect of boxing, then you don't fucking run boxing, right? You are potentially being exploited by boxing promoters and networks. So you want to say, oh, black Americans are exploited? Okay, yeah, fine. They're exploited, as well as Mexican, Latinos, Eastern Europeans, Asian fighters as well. You know, the box is all being exploited. But where is the white Canadians on the list? Always dick riding someone else's culture, Sean. No, I'm just showing you with my list of fighters I support. It has nothing to do with nationalism. I don't have any Canadians on my list because I don't need to fucking put a Canadian on my list. Not like a lot of you guys that would rather fucking hate on non-American fighters and act like you're really pro-America, even though you fucking hate the country, hate the government, hate half the, or sorry, more than half the population because they don't look like you. Like, come on, man. At my beginning of this video, I was saying the majority of fucking people are just good people. But Damon, you always expose yourself. With you, it's all about race politics. Coming out with a comment like, we run boxing. What do you mean we run boxing? The biggest pay-per-view stars in the sport right now, not black American. So what do you run? You don't finance. You don't have the biggest fucking sellers of the sport. Like, literally, what are you running? Top 3 pound for pound ranked Elijah Pierce, Oshaki Foster, Andrade. Whoever said that exposes themselves as just a fucking blatant racist because Oshaki Foster is the only guy you could even put into the discussion. But having him on a pound for pound list really shows you that you're just looking to fill your list full of black people, because none of those fucking fighters are anywhere close to a pound for pound list currently. None of them. None of them. All of them have multiple losses. Well, except Andrade. He just got multiple fucking ducking. But let's move forward. So, these are some fighters that I support, not based on nationality, Damon, but based on style and excitement. Why do you support your fighters, Damon? We know. Because they look like you. You only support black basketball players, black football players, black baseball players, black boxers. And it's cool that you support them. It's okay. You can. But then don't fucking accuse everyone else of being a racist because they don't support the same people you support. Because this is not about supporting American fighters. Because the people moaning and groaning like you, Damon, and John Boxing, and Dante Boxing Nation, and LDBC, they don't support anyone that doesn't look like them. That's why the LDBC doesn't even have any non-fucking black people as part of the LDBC. They used to when they first came out because they were full of shit and they're lying to people. We knew eventually all those non-black fucking people as part of the LDBC would be kicked out, which they were, and now it's just blacks only. Imagine making a whites-only boxing network. That would be racist. But these are some fighters to pay attention to for the future. I know Damon's going to love all of them. Well, sorry, one of them. The rest he's going to fucking say are hype jobs, overrated, manufactured, fucking ducking, no good. Because, of course, that's what Damon would do. But let's look at these guys closely. You got Omari Jones, the only boxer from the last Olympics to win a medal. Currently 3-0 with 3 knockouts in the pros. Obviously, one of the most highly acclaimed young up-and-coming FBA fighters in America. And a guy that, very similar to Keyshawn Davis, right, looks as if he could be that next generation of black FBA fighter. Then, of course, you got Omid Taliyaf. Currently, one of the best amateur fighters in boxing today. He just was part of a tournament that was taking place in London, and he just beat gold medal winning Kazakhstan fighter convincingly in that tournament to move forward, and is definitely one of the best and brightest young Uzbekistan fighters in boxing today. One to really keep an eye on. When you think about slow, plodding, flat-footed Eastern Europeans, this guy's anything but that. He's got great footwork, fast hands. He is the real deal. Then, of course, you got Tomoe Tsuboi, the last great Japanese amateur fighter, currently 2-0 with 1 knockouts. Why would Katie Taylor be? Oh, fuck, Katie Taylor. He's making a point. He's mocking you, Bobby. People that make pound-for-pound lists with Clarissa Shields, Layla Ali, and Danielle Perkins only put them on the list because they're black. They wouldn't put Katie Taylor on the list because she's not. So then she has to be no good. She's a hype job. She's not that great. We had a poll on my job, who's the best in their prime between LeBron and Bird, and I told them Bird hands down I'm not a racist. You say that, but I'd need to see proof, Damon, because what you show on my channel every time contradicts that. And then you go to John's Boxing's channel, and the things you say about me there really fucking expose you. But Bird, yes, obviously he's better than LeBron. LeBron is way more athletic, had a way longer career. LeBron cooks Bird. Man, Larry Bird, better rebounder, better passer, better shooter, a better winner. LeBron, more athletic, stronger. LeBron is more dominant. LeBron has never been more dominant. When did LeBron dominate as much? Larry Bird is a way better passer than LeBron. Come on. Only young boys like you that never watched Larry Bird fucking can say stupid shit. Bird was passing like the Joker was back in the day. No look behind the back passes, to fucking wide open guys like Kevin McHale for dunks. LeBron James is an overhyped passer. He never makes exciting, great passes. He just makes passes. In LeBron's prime, he had no Jay Bird, was scoring without athleticism. Bird was scoring without athleticism, and he's kind of like Wayne Gretzky, the way he sees the game. He sees it all. Tenacious defender, was a member of all defensive team a number of times. Averaged almost 10 rebounds a game. He was a way better all-around player. A guy that was 90, 50, 40. When has LeBron James ever been close to 90, 50, 40? Never is the correct way. Because even as a free throw shooter, his free throw shooting is mediocre at best. Bird is smarter. John Stockton never made flashy passes, but he has the most assists of all times. Yeah, because he had a long career and he played with fucking Karl Malone. So probably 60% of his assists are pick and roll with Malone. But let's go back. So we have Tomoe Tosboy, the next great Japanese fighter, one to keep an eye on. And then, of course, a fighter currently with Golden Boy, who I like, Ruslan Abdullayev. He's not as athletic, doesn't have quite the footwork that Omataliev does, but obviously he's a senior to Omataliev, obviously a guy who's a role model to the young guy, both very exciting fighters. I think Abdullayev is easily going to be a champion in the pros. He's really professional, technically very good, and one to keep an eye on. And then, of course, you have the Japanese Lomachenko, Ryota Tatsumi, whose brother is probably going to become a world champion before the end of this year. But Ryota Tatsumi, of course, was the better brother. So, we'll see what happens with him. But all four of these guys, or five of these guys, definitely young, up-and-coming fighters to watch. Mark Price was one of my favorite as well, but I don't want to take it off of boxing, bro. Oh, fuck. I love Mark Price. Mark Price and that whole Georgia Tech team with Dennis Scott. What's the guy? Brian Oliver. Of course, was it after or before Mark Price? You had, what's his face? The great New York black point guard, Kenny Anderson. Fucking Kenny Anderson, man. What a player he was. What a player he was. That dude was great. But Mark Price, right, and even his brother, great players, had great NBA careers, right? Mark Price, great college basketball player. But if you talked about some of the best players, point guards in history, people wouldn't put Mark Price on that list because they overlook him because he's just not fucking black and not athletic. So they'd put guys like Baron Davis over Mark Price, whereas Baron Davis wasn't a better passer, a better shooter, or ran a team better than Mark Price. What he was more explosive, more athletic, threw down great dunks. So you can be great and not be an uber athlete. Look at Luka. Look at Joker, right? Great players. Two of the best players in basketball right now. Neither of them could jump over fucking 3 books stacked on top of each other. Not athletic, but what they have is great skill set, great vision, and great brains to the sport. Kind of like Wayne Gretzky. Not the fastest skater, not the strongest guy, but a guy that could see fucking the whole ice and could read play and plays ahead and made the game easy. The game was slow for him. And that's the thing about Larry Bird. The game is slow for him, right? He slowed it down. That's why he could tell you, I'm going to go here and I'm going to shoot this jump shot in your face and you can't stop me. Then he'd go there, he'd shoot that jump shot in your face and you couldn't stop him. Baron Davis is a joke compared to Mark, plus he had stayed injured. Well, obviously when you're explosive like Baron Davis, injuries are something that happens to you. One of my favorite point guards ever, obviously because of his athleticism, Derrick Rose. Man, I love Derrick Rose. If I could be any player in the NBA, I wanted to be Derrick Rose, fucking throwing down two-hand dunks on 7-footers in the key at fucking 6'3". But you play that style, inevitably injuries are going to be a problem, right? And unfortunately for Derrick, after winning MVP, right, his career was basically fucking ruined because that style is just too tough on your body. That's why it's part amazing that LeBron James has been able to play this long in the league. We know why. PEDs, buddy. That dude's juiced up fucking hard time. But it's not like Karl Malone and guys of that era weren't fucking juicing either. So it ain't a big deal. It's just obviously it's unbelievable how durable fucking LeBron James has been. When you think of other guys like him, super athletic and really big, injuries are always a concern. Remember, Herschel Walker, actually, he wasn't bad, didn't have too many injuries. But think of Bo Jackson, right? How are you like 28 years old, but you need like a hip replacement surgery at like 28 years old? It's a shame because he was fucking Bo knows. Bo knows everything. But overall, I mean, I don't know what people are talking about when they're like, I saw True School Sports today shitting on this year's boxing. Yet this year, some of the fucking best fights of the year we've had have been unbelievable. That Kenshiro Taraji Okui unification fight, still my favorite fight, still the fight I think is the fight of the year. But then you think of the fight we just saw last weekend, the weekend before, between Mim Billy and what's his face? Lester Martinez. Holy fucking hell, people. Like, that fight was so good. Unbelievably good. Boxing's slow right now. Boxing's not slow. It always has summer periods and stuff where there's just not a lot of fight cards. That's not unusual. We have Boots versus Lima to look forward to. Yeah, it should be a great fight. I hope Boots makes a huge statement. I know people are shitting on him because they don't know who Lima is, but this again is part of the problem with social media and boxing fans. They don't know people, and they take that as a sign that somehow a fighter's fighting bums. But your ignorance, that's all you're expressing. Your ignorance. Fight sucks, Sean. No, it doesn't suck. Your perspective sucks, Bobby, because you look like a casual. I mean, you can expose yourself as being a casual boxing fan. That's fine. If that's what you want to be, buddy. But literally, that's what you look like. Fight sucks. What do you mean fight sucks? Dude's first fight at 154 pounds. He's taking on Lima, who currently is 14-1. 10 knockouts, never been knocked out, right? When you think about some of the wins this guy had, good wins. His win against Koopman, undefeated fighter, a good South African fighter, stopped him in 9. The Indian fighter, tough kid, also undefeated, right? Beat him by decision. Undefeated Eastern European fighter from Germany, stopped him in 10, right? Lost to Aaron McKenna, but early on in his career, McKenna obviously went on to have a moment in boxing, and he lost, got outboxed by a slick boxer. Now you get in there with Boots. Boots ain't going to try to outbox him. Boots is going to, go to war. It's going to be an exciting fight. According to Paulie, the co-main of Naji Lopez is the fight of the year. Well, Paulie says that, but Naji Lopez just fought today. UFC filled with too many Dagestan fighters. All they do is grapple. Fans don't want to see that all night. I agree with you. Yeah, I agree completely. Naji Lopez. Let's take a peek at Naji. Naji, as I said, one of the top young up-and-coming fighters in boxing for sure. Currently number 11. I think he's going to move up today. Obviously, he just fought Calvin Henderson today. No scheduled fight for the future. So, who do you mean, Naji Lopez? Where's Boots? Boots, where are you? Show me your card so we can discuss it and talk about why it's so garbage. Only 28 years old, out of Philly. So there you are. I don't see no Najee Lopez on this card, but you got Kyle Cole against Jesse Hart. Good fight. Cole overrated, but Jesse Hart and him, very good opponent. Guido Vanelli versus Alex Pereira. I don't know who he is, but two young heavyweights should be fun. Moses, obviously Moses is Shakur Stevenson's cousin. That should be a good fight. Moses is supposed to be the future. And then underneath them, it's a bunch of prospects, right? All prospects, nobody big name. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 prospects. A guy that didn't live up to expectations, an ex-contender, and then of course Jaron Big Baby or Jaron Boots Ennis. I mean, it's not the best card for the year for sure, but not every card needs to be a super card, right? It's just important to keep fighters active, showcase younger fighters, give them a platform, and that's what that is. You go to Philly, where Philly's shown that they're supporting Jaron Boots Ennis hard, so you might as well just keep feeding them Jaron Ennis fights, and hopefully next year we can get him in one of those big fights, and hopefully, unlike Virgil Ortiz, he actually chases after a champion. The Martinez-Mambili fight's already been okayed to rematch. That fight's going to be crazy, and they're going to make it a 12-rounder the second time around. So that's great. I'm picking Martinez by knockout. And you heard it here first. Martinez by knockout. I know I should be supporting Mambili, the Canadian, but I'm supporting the guy in Bud Crawford's stable. Lester Martinez. Lester Martinez, man, he showed a lot of skills in that first fight. I was very impressed overall with his performance. Wednesday, Brandon Glanton versus Marcus Brown. That's not a bad fight. That shit's pretty good. I'll be cool with watching that. Marcus Brown trying to get back into the mix of things, obviously after getting destroyed by Better BF 25-2, 16 KOs. You know, this guy was part of that U.S. Olympic team with Demetrius Andrade and Rashid Warren. Obviously got beat by Better BF in 21, took off 22, beat a good opponent, 13-1-1 in 23, took off 24, and now getting in there with Glanton. I like Glanton. Glanton, he's a football player, this dude, man. 20-3, never knocked out, 17 KOs. He's a beast. Beating Urgasayov, great win. Beating Martrick, good win. It should be a fun fight. But thanks everyone for jumping in. I just wanted to showcase the fact that, you know, if you're here talking about how people need to support American fighters, you should be doing that. You should be role modeling by supporting American fighters, not fucking just proving you're a racist with a blatant double standard. Keith Thurman isn't the type of guy to get injured seasoning food. He is the type of guy to get injured seasoning food. He's going to throw his fucking elbow out. But if that fight falls through, I'll be happy. The last thing I want to see is Funduro versus fucking Keith Thurman. Another bullshit PBC card. And then fucking Tank Davis, Jake Paul. Another bullshit fucking PBC card. Who wants that shit? Not me. But leave your comments below. Make sure to like, share, and Sean, you know you can't wait till Champ Size pound for pound list drops. Can't wait. I know what Champ Size pound for pound list is going to be. Race-based, trying to fucking jam black American fighters on the list and disregard and downplay non-black American fighters. That guy is too predictable So there's nothing to see there. But thanks for coming out. See you guys next time. Peace out.